All right, let's talk about AI. But today, we're not just using it. We're going to learn how to sculpt it. We're going to take one of those generic, off-the-shelf models and turn it into a truly personal partner, all using this really cool framework called OpenClaw. So let's get into it. I mean, think about it for a second. The assistants you use every day, yeah, they're powerful, but do they actually get you? Do they know your priorities, your little quirks, the way you like to work, the things that make you, well, you? For most of us, the answer is a big no. And that right there is the huge difference we're talking about today. On the one hand, you've got this standard, generic AI. It's a blank slate every single time. But on the right, that's the goal, an AI that's calibrated specifically for you, one that remembers what you care about and plays by your rules. This isn't just about convenience, it's a total game changer for how we can work with these things. So, how do we actually do this? Well, the OpenClaw way is honestly pretty brilliant. It all boils down to just 4 simple files. These 4 files are the absolute foundation of your AI's personality and its memory. Think of these 4 files as your sculptor's toolkit. You've got soul, user, agents, and memory. Each one has a very specific job, and together, they're what lets you shape a generic AI into an agent that actually feels like it knows you. First up is soul.md. This file is the bedrock. It's the AI's core identity. This is where you lay down the law, its values, its personality, and most importantly, the hard and fast rules it can never, ever break. Next, we have user.md. So, if the soul file is all about the AI, the user file is all about you. It's basically a briefing document that tells the agent who it's working for, your name, what you're focused on right now, how you like to get your information, all that good stuff. Then there's agents.md. This one is all about procedure. Think of it as the AI's internal operating manual. It's got the startup checklist, the rules for how to manage memory. Basically, it's the how-to guide for the AI itself. And last but definitely not least is memory.md. This is the curated long-term memory, and it's a huge deal. It's where the AI keeps all the important stuff it learns about you, making sure that context carries over from one shot to the next. This is what stops you from having to repeat yourself over and over again. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but why 4 separate files? Couldn't you just cram all this into one big file? And that is a fantastic question. The answer really gets to the heart of what makes this whole system so smart. It's not a random choice, it's a very intentional design. It all boils down to 3 key reasons. And each one solves a major headache you'd run into if you tried to do this with one giant file. Headaches with performance, with privacy, and just simple day-to-day maintenance. Let's break down why this 4-file system is so much better. Okay, this table lays it all out. First up, size. See, AI models have a limited attention span or context window. A single massive file would get cut off, and the AI could just forget a critical rule you wrote in the middle. With 4 smaller files, each one gets fully loaded, every single time. No lost instructions. Second, privacy. This one's huge. You might want to use your AI in a group chat, right? But you definitely don't want it blurting out your sensitive info. The solution? That memory file? It only loads when you're in a private one-on-one chat. And third, maintenance. When everything is separated, you can tweak a preference in one file without ever worrying that you might accidentally break a core rule in another. It's just cleaner and way safer. All right, so we get the what and the why. Now for the fun part, the how. Actually, writing these files is a bit of an art, and there are some specific tricks that make them way more effective. So, when you're writing that soul file, here's a secret that's kind of counterintuitive. You might think you should load it up with positive goals, like be helpful. But the truth is, vague stuff like that just gets lost and ignored, especially in a long conversation. What really works? Sharp, concrete rules and things the AI is not allowed to do. Those are much harder for the AI to forget or ignore. And this is a perfect example. Always require my explicit confirmation before sending an email draft. See? That's not a fuzzy suggestion to be careful. It's a hard, testable rule, an order. This is the kind of sharp instruction that gives you reliable, predictable results. Now, for your user file, just think of it as a living briefing. It should only have info about you that's safe to share in a group. And the best part is how you update it. You don't have to go digging around in files. You just tell the agent, hey, my main focus is on this new project now. Can you update my user file? It's a really simple and powerful way to keep it current. As for the agents file, Its most important job is just being the boss. You literally write an instruction in there telling the AI the exact order to read the other files. First soul, then user, then memory. This turns your preference into a strict, repeatable command. This brings us to memory, which is honestly one of the coolest parts of this whole system. It's not static, it's a smart two-tier system that lets your AI actually learn and get better over time, just by talking to you. So how does this actually work? Well, it starts with daily logs. Every interaction you have gets saved automatically, like a raw diary. Then, every so often, those logs get reviewed. Key facts, things you keep repeating, or important preferences get spotted. And then they get promoted into that permanent memory file. And just like that, something that happened once becomes permanent knowledge the AI can use forever. And let's just hammer home this privacy point one more time, because it is so, so important. This slide makes it super clear. Soul, user, and agents. Those files are your public safe stuff. They can load anywhere. But memory.md, that's where your private info lives. It is for your eyes only, and it will only ever load when you're in a one-on-one session, period. Okay, finally, and this might be the most important thing to remember, this is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. You're building an evolving partner, and the real magic happens over time through actually using it. Look, don't try to make it perfect on day one. Your first drafts are going to be incomplete, maybe a little messy, and that's not just okay, that's the whole point. The system is designed from the ground up to get better with time. It all comes down to this super simple feedback loop. You use your agent, you notice it makes a mistake or forgets something you like, you just tell it, hey, that was wrong, add this rule to my soul file, and that's it. Through dozens of these little corrections, the AI's behavior gets sharper and sharper. You're literally teaching it how to be your perfect assistant, one conversation at a time. And that's the real power here. By breaking an AI's brain into these 4 distinct pieces, you get incredible control over what it knows, how it acts, and what it keeps private. It turns AI from a generic tool into a personal partner that you yourself get to sculpt and train over time. So I guess the only question left is, now that you have the tools, who are you going to build?